for the PvP here. And
Okay.
I don't think I've actually seen a PvP on this map, so I'm stoked.
Yeah, I haven't either. So let's get into it. Game number 2 between PrO and Gosudark. All right, here we go. Game number 2 of Group A between, oh no. Did they do top and bottom? No, they didn't. Okay, well, let's have some fun. So it's a PvP between the, wait a second. This is, I'm just going to call this teal. Between the teal Protoss player, Gosudark, in the upper left-hand corner.
And his opponent in the bottom right as the less tealy green.
Yeah, so I think this color is this...
I think it's ochre, right?
Oak? Is that the official term?
Well, I don't know. I'm a man, so I go by green, blue, etc. I don't... Like, my color spectrum contains like 8 colors, and anything in between, you know what I mean, right?
So I think the color is olive, but we're just going to do like maybe light green and dark green, if you can talk about it that way. But there's also an actually dark green color. So
you would literally have to explain which one is light green in this scenario, because I don't...
Okay, well, I'm going to consider Gosudark a little bit of a lighter shade of green, and then the darker shade of green is going to be PrO. Either
looks
way,
a bit grayish on the minimap.
As soon as they both build Archons, good luck. Okay, how do you? What do you do? I remember casting a yellow versus white PvP on a desert tile set, and it was just actually impossible. Or maybe it was orange versus yellow. I don't know. So this is another one of a long line of terrible color PvPs. So we're just gonna watch one player win and one player lose, and at the end of the day, we'll figure out who is who.
Yeah, I guess. So there's a gas being taken by Gosudark and still no gas from PrO. So already a bit of build divergence. We're obviously going to see some zealot pressure coming out from the Italian player. And as soon as the gas guys get scouted by Gosudark, I expect him to queue up a zealot of his own as well. There we go. So going to get ready for any aggression coming from his opponent. So I don't think this delay on the gas is going to pay off in any way for the Italian player. I'm gonna have to wait and see. I mean, I don't necessarily know much about PvP. It's one of those matchups where, you know, anything goes, and the slightest of things can be the biggest of differences. So
yeah, I would say for the most part, builds are usually pretty mirrored up until the cybernetic score finishes. If you don't see a cybernetic score, then all of a sudden some alarm bells start to go off in your head and you're like, wait a second, where's that gas going? But obviously both players have gas, so it's nothing super weird early on at all. The weirdness is going to happen once that finishes and you have to choose between a certain number of gateways, whether it's 3 gate, which is pretty aggressive, or going into something like DT tech, which is super sneaky, or just teching up to observers, which kind of makes you safe all around. But you can't really do any of that until you kill the scouting probe, and neither player's been able to do that yet.
Yeah, these probes, the longevity of these probes is really throwing a wrench in the build orders here for both players, because they can't really telegraph what they want to play, right? But at the same time, they're losing time. Oh, that came out wrong. But you get the point, right? As much as they would want to get rid of these probes, they kind of need to throw something down, or they're basically wasting time. So it's like a game of chicken here. Which player wants to show their hand first? We've got the first Dragoons out. Well, nearly for both players. So the probes are going to get forced out.
Yes.
And we should see tech throw down for both players soon after.
I'm waiting for it. I mean, they're both getting Dragoon range. So Dragoon range is really what tells you whether or not it's going to be DTs, because a lot of times you can skip that, save the gas, and then put that into DTs later on. That's just kind of one way to look at it. But obviously, if you can't kill the probe in time, sometimes you fake it with like air weapons, but neither player is really doing anything crazy. The crazy thing is happening right now. There is a Nexus in PvP. Nexuses are the scariest unit in PvP because they mean you just have to hold on. But this is a rear Nexus, so it's going to be impossible for Gosudark to scout this for a while.
But more importantly, it's going to be more difficult for Gosudark to actually apply any pressure because he's got those 2 gateways and he's investing quite a lot of money into Dragoons. So ideally, if you're doing this, you want to be applying pressure. And obviously, he's going for a robo facility of his own, and we might see a Nexus thrown down as well. But for the time being, I'm actually liking PrO's build a little bit more.
Yeah, but so a couple of things are weird. So Nexi are risky because they're vulnerable. But the bigger thing is that the Dragoon count is so crazily important in PvP, because if you have 5 Dragoons versus 4, you just win the game. Well, yeah, it's obviously an overstatement, but it's definitely one of the big risks of making a Nexus, because you will just have fewer Dragoons. So you have to have something to save you from that. And in this case, it's high ground. So there's 2 Zealots on top of the high ground with some Dragoons behind them. And because the probe saw the high ground vision there for just a second, he might think, wait, these are the only Dragoons, but he might also think that there are more behind them. We know the secret, and that is that there are no Dragoons behind them. But fighting up from low ground to high ground is still a pretty risky thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, the problem here is that you don't really have to worry about pressure if you're PrO, but what you're going to have to worry about is actually breaking down the ramp once the time comes, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Because he could get contained, and that might become a bit problematic. The ramp here is relatively narrow, so going down is going to be a hellish job. So, like, the only thing I'm expecting him to go for now are like Reavers, because I don't see him actually breaking this contain, or this like soft contain, with just Dragoons and just Zealots, because they're going to get funneled down through the ramp and get picked off one by one. So I think the sensible thing to do here is to just throw down a support bay. But what he's doing, he's actually going for a 4th gateway, which is a bit perplexing.
Yeah.
But, maybe he's got a plan.
How are you going to use 4 gateways worth of units from this position? What are you going to put them on? Are you going to funnel them down the ramp one by one? I don't think so. And it's actually Gosudark that's the first one to throw down a support bay. But wait, did he cancel that? Or did it finish? No, it finished. Never mind. So he's going to be having Reavers, which really solidifies this contain. He is trying to break down this ramp single file. I think that's a terrible idea, but he is actually going to do that. Work. Yeah, wow. I kind of thought Gosudark was going to have more reinforcements coming in a little bit faster, but as is, he actually just loses everything. So never mind. Forget everything we just said. PrO is a PrO.
I mean, it's a bit perplexing because he's got an observer in the main base of the Italian player, so he knows what's coming. He knows that there is no Reaver tech, and instead of sending 4 Dragoons that are currently parked in his natural to reinforce the contain, he split his army and lost half of it.
Yes, you are correct. It is. You can always judge Protoss players pretty hard when they lose Dragoon versus Dragoon battles at this point in the game, because usually they're going to have observers that should tell them exactly what they have to worry about. So you can do the math ahead of time. I don't know if Protoss players are really good at math, but that was bad for Gosudark, because he lost any advantage he had in the game right now. And he's going to be, once again, down a Nexus as this 3rd comes up.
Yeah, what he's going to be faced with is a dilemma of, well, basically, do I try and play catch up, or do I try and break my opponent here? I think that he's got real potential to break his opponent because he's got Reaver tech, and he's soon going to have 4 gateways as well. So there might be a timing window when he's got two Reavers and a shuttle, try and make some magic happen on the other side of the map. But for the time being, it feels like he's on the back foot, no doubt, in every single regard here.
Yeah, now all PrO has to do is sit back, maxing, relaxing, and he will be able to do that faster now that he's adding on a couple more gateways. So what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gates from PrO, and he's probably going to add on 3, 4 more here in just a second. So while Gosudark isn't bustable because he's got Reavers and he should have a shuttle out pretty soon, let's see what his reaction is here. Does he just want to expand to that safe 3rd?
I think he's too far behind to try and play catch up at this point. +1 attack is halfway done for PrO. Gosudark doesn't even have a Forge, right? We're soon going to have Templar tech as well, so Archons are going to be there to tank for those Reavers, or for those Reaver shots.
Yeah.
He's got 18 probes more, right? That's 49 to 31 in a mirror matchup.
Yeah. So Gosudark's in trouble. It's going to take some miraculous Reaver shots, and he does have 2 Reavers and a shuttle headed out across the map right now. And there's still no Reaver tech for PrO. So I mean, Reavers are pretty good. We'll see how much it matters, because Zealot Legs is about to finish along with +1 weapons. And those are both gigantic upgrades.
Yeah, so this is the timing window that he needs to use, or he needs to make best use of, to try and break his opponent, because I don't see him actually managing to play beyond this point. PrO is 21 probes up on his opponent. He's got plenty of units out here. Zealot speed has finished. Has +1 attack finished. Not just yet. It's about to finish in like 10-15 seconds. So this is actually a bit of an anti-timing by PrO to go out and fight.
Yeah. I mean, look, Reavers are good. They're not having great targeting. They're just kind of picking off units a little bit with some overkill. But, I mean, look, it's looking okay for Gosudark. But watch these Archons come in.
Has only just finished.
Yeah, and the +1 is actually going to start to kick in right now. So let's see if he can take out one of these Reavers, pick up the save on the Reaver, save on the shuttle now. Targeting's really good, but I think he forgot to target with the Reavers. They're just sitting there. You gotta use the Reavers, dude.
It was a massive blunder by PrO to actually go out and fight like this. Because he had +1 attack about to finish, like 10 seconds. I understand the idea of trying to fight in an open area. That would make it a bit more difficult to actually utilize those Reavers, right?
Yeah.
Because I understand the idea of going out to meet your opponent head on, but he also had to factor in the fact that +1 attack was about to finish in 10-15 seconds before that fight took place. And so you kind of need to weigh the pros and cons. And yeah, I think I would have just sat back and tanked those Reaver shots until +1 attack kicked in. Because now, look at this, Gosudark is in the main base of his opponent. He's still got one Reaver out here applying pressure. And he's got the stronger army, because even though he's 21 probes behind, the supplies are actually relatively even. So that means he's got about a 10 supply lead on the army. He doesn't have that +1 attack, and Zealots are actually pretty good, but I don't think they're that good.
Yeah, no, they are definitely not very good at all, especially when those Reaver shots start to connect. So much splash damage is going to come down, but he does actually have quite a few Dragoons. So let's see how good this Reaver is going to do. The Dragoons of PrO are actually getting back far enough to snipe the shuttle. Can they take out the Reaver before it equalizes things? The Reaver does go down, but all the Dragoons are dying here, and I can't tell whose are whose. Yeah. But in the end, Gosudark's Dragoons survive. Let's see if it matters, if he can stabilize. Oh my god, his Dragoons have like 1 HP, and there's more reinforcements funneling in here for Gosudark.
Yeah, but that's only like 3 or 4 units, and if PrO holds here, he's still got that massive probe lead. He's got +1 attack, so it feels like the game might actually stabilize here.
What? And only Brood War, you can have just like one player be totally dead, and then come back, and then do a lot of damage, and then be totally even. I'm like, wait, what? How does that all work? So let's see if PrO can stabilize here. That's the big question. Because despite his economic advantage, his army is not looking so hot. But he does actually find a way to push Gosudark back for now.
Wow. What a tug of war.
Man, going up that ramp was a little bit of a risky situation, especially after he lost that one Reaver. And even though he had the potential to go in and actually just end the game, you can lose a lot of games trying to play that way. So it is just very hard to kill somebody. And even though Gosudark did get the damage done that he needed to,
well, did he? Actually, he's like 17 probes behind, and he doesn't have +1 attack. He's only just finishing his Citadel.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a forge.
I mean, you're right. He killed the Nexus, and that's good. He killed a bunch of army units. That's good, too. But you're right. He's down upgrades, and he doesn't really have anything besides Reavers.
One thing he has going for him is the fact that PrO is about to deplete his simulator in the base he took in the back of his in the back of his main. So that's something for Gosudark to consider, that maybe that gas might be running low. But yeah, his economy is, I wouldn't say in tatters, but it's definitely behind. He's still like 15 probes short of his opponent. And yeah, I mean, look at how many High Templar are on the other side. Look at how many Archons that's going to be.
Yeah, one thing to point out is that for the last battle, PrO didn't have really any tech. I think he had an Archon, but that was about it.
Yeah.
He had upgrades, and that was nice, but he didn't have any like non-gateway units. So even though I guess technically you do make High Templars and Archons out of gateways, them being in this army is
there was a
so
shuttle
much more powerful
at the top. A shuttle got caught at the top with 2 or 4 High Templar.
Oh my
so
god.
that's a good move for Gosudark. He was expecting that. He had 5 Dragoons waiting at the top there. We just managed to catch the end tail of that. Or the tail end
Certainly
of that.
that is gigantic. So super important to take that out. Now comes the actual battle. And this is going to be about, dodging storms, about Reaver splash damage. Let's see how important this is. There's also DTs coming out from Gosudark. It's sort of a Hail Mary here. So maybe those will be good enough if he snipes these observers.
Well, there's only one observer, so if he does think of sniping those, does he actually have one of his own? Because I can't see one. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. But anyway, yeah, as you said, it's going to be about dodging storms, and on top of that, it's going to be dodging storms at turn rate 8, and he's not doing any. Oh, he actually stormed his own observer, so those DTs are going to come in handy.
No way!
Yeah, look at it. But there's only
so
like one.
Gosudark doesn't even have an observer, but now he does actually. But PrO
actually stormed his own observer, and there's 4 DTs now running rampant.
Are you kidding me?
Oh,
what? They can even body block these units as they retreat and pick off even more of them. This is the most. He's trying to storm to pick off the TTs, but he actually stormed some of his own units and he loses even more. Oh my god.
Yeah, but was it enough? I mean, PrO is still on 3 bases. He's got the upgrade advantage. He's like 30 supply up. So even though all that went down, he's going for his 4th base. He's going for his 4th base when Gosudark is only now planting his 3rd. I still don't, even though all that has actually happened, I still don't think that Gosudark has a way back in.
Yeah, those DTs were kind of a band-aid. Those were the emergency plan. But it's like, you're like in a submarine that's crashed on the bottom of the ocean. But you've got emergency supply rations. And I'm like, well, yes, technically you will survive longer because of that, but you still gotta, find a way to save your life here. And I don't know if this fledgling 3rd base is gonna do it, because PrO's gonna hit at the same time as Gosudark's trying to get that base up, and DTs are kind of all Gosudark has.
And PrO has +2 attack.
Yeah. And more observers. He's got more than 1 observer here. So
he needs to watch out so as not to get sniped. Oh, that's a decent storm on the Dark Templar there.
Okay, let's see if he can snipe the observer. He's not able to take the observer out. That means this fight is over.
Yeah.
GG, that's it.
Was a bit... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying Gosudark taps out and PrO takes game number 2.
Yeah, it was a bit anticlimactic at the end there. I was hoping for more. I was hoping for fireworks, but that didn't happen.
You're right.
So
maybe like you snipe the observer and the game continues on, but at that point you're, playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes. I think the game was pretty over there after. What do you think was the real turning point there? Was it when Gosudark decided to go high ground?
Yeah, maybe he should have actually gone for a 3rd base of his own and kept the soft contain. Like, there were a few mistakes that it felt he made. Like, the first one was obviously splitting his army and only keeping half of it as a soft contain at the natural, when he actually knew that there were only 4 gateways and there was no tech that could threaten his own economy.